There we go. Good evening, everyone. It is April 7th at 6:30. It's time for the regular meeting of the Village of Wheeling. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Brady, roll call, please.
Trustee Rufato.
Here.
Trustee Kruger.
Present.
Trustee Lang.
Here.
Trustee Vito.
Here.
Trustee Papantos.
Present.
Trustee Vogel.
Here.
President Horker.
Here, you have before you the minutes of the regular meeting of March 3rd, 2025. I need a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Trustee Papantos, second.
I'll second.
Trustee Lang, roll call.
Trustee Kruger.
Yes.
Trustee Lang.
Yes.
Trustee Vito.
Yes.
Trustee Papantos.
Yes.
Trustee Vogel.
Yes.
Trustee Rufato.
Yes.
President Horker.
Yes, any changes to the agenda?
No changes this evening.
Thank you. Proclamations, Clerk Brady.
Okay. Arbor Day, April 25th, 2025. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this day is the last Friday in April, referred to as Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and in the world, and whereas the trees can reduce erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, reduce heating and cooling costs, moderate the ambient temperatures, limit carbon dioxide, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource used in countless paper and wood products, providing wood for our homes and fuel for our fires, and whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and the beautify of our community, and whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Patrick Horker, President of the Village of Wheeling, does hereby proclaim April 25th, 2025 as Arbor Day, and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to plant, maintain, and protect our trees and woodlands.
Thank you. No appointments, no administration of oaths, citizen concerns and comments. Clerk Brady.
Yes. Citizens' concerns and comments. Members of the public may address the board with comments regarding issues relevant to village business. No citizen shall speak for more than 5 minutes without consent of the board. Members of the general public who wish to address the board must sign the request to speak form prior to the commencement of the public meeting. I have Steve Kumin.
And just as a reminder, this is a time for the citizens to make their comments and express their concerns, and for the board to listen. Neither the board nor staff will be answering questions. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. And for the record, it's going to be approximately a 10-minute speech, but I have two other subjects behind me that will continue. If
Thank
that's
you.
Okay. Hello, my name is Stephen Coleman. I've been a Wheeling police officer for the past 14 years. I serve as the secretary for the Wheeling Police Officers Union. I've received several service awards, including a life-saving award, along with Officer Devin Ladisick for saving a young man's life who was attempting suicide. Prior to joining the Wheeling Police Department, I served in the U.S. Marine Corps and obtained the rank of sergeant. I was tasked with being an infantry machine gun section leader. I was in charge of the welfare and combat readiness of the 20 Marines, made up of the 6 machine gun teams that were deployed and saw combat during the Battle of Fallujah in Iraq. My Marine Corps experience exposed me to various types of leaderships. Most of them were selfless and heroic. But I also experienced a few examples of unacceptable and poor leadership. These examples guide my beliefs and the importance of good leadership. Before starting my statement, on behalf of the union, we would like to thank President Horker for attending our meeting with village management on March 24th, 2025. We feel that President Horker genuinely cares about the police department and this community, which was evident through him asking questions and clarifying statements. We would also like to thank the village board for their support of the officers throughout my tenure. The patrol and sergeant unions believe it's essential to provide transparency to the elected officials and citizens of Wheeling about the important issues of morale, leadership, and inadequate readiness within the Wheeling Police Department. We ask that you take action against village management who are willing to ignore the plea of help from the police officers who wish to return the department to a healthy work environment and restore previously diminished services to the community. On February 20th, 2025, the Metropolitan Alliance of Police tendered the village notice of the patrol union's vote of no confidence containing a list of concerns and ethical complaints against Chief Dunn and Deputy Chief Steffen. This document is signed by 34 of the 39 eligible patrol officers. The vote excluded probationary officers from voting out of fear of retaliation. The Sergeants Union provided their unanimous verbal vote of no confidence along with their list of complaints to village management in a meeting on March 4th. Upon receiving the vote of no confidence, Village Manager John Sfondilis requested a meeting with Patrol Officers Union to discuss the contents of the letter. The union welcomed an opportunity to speak with the manager and provided notice that the Sergeants chapter would also like to attend. This meeting occurred on March 4th at the Village Hall with Manager Sfondilis and Assistant Manager Michael Karate. The sergeants and officers representatives spent about 2 hours providing detailed instances regarding the poor treatment of department members, training lapses, and discipline that was not uniform based on EEOC or otherwise known as Equal Employment Opportunity Commission characteristics. Due to the amount of substance discussed regarding the failed leadership of Chief Dunn and Deputy Chief Steffen, the issues in the no confidence letter were never discussed. During the meeting, Manager Sfondilis and Assistant Village Manager Karate stated they were unaware of any management employee issues within the police department and were caught off guard by the vote of no confidence. The unions have knowledge that former employees either wrote exit letters or tried to meet with village management in regards to the morale problems and diminished readiness. Those documents could be obtained via Freedom of Information Act requests, but may be deemed too voluminous like several other FOIA requests made by Matt. Under Chief Dunn, the Wheeling Police Department has become a revolving door which pushes out experienced officers and brought in new and less experienced officers. Village management failed to investigate this unprecedented trend at the police department and have ignored comments made by retiring officers as to why they were leaving earlier than expected. They also failed to interview the young officers who left for other agencies or to pursue different careers. Since 2020, nearly 20 officers have left the department after serving less than 18 years, with most taking positions at other law enforcement agencies. The village has incurred significant costs with the loss of these officers. On average, the village invested approximately $100,000 for each officer with 7 years of service. This monetary value only reflects this cost to train and equip that officer. The union representatives provided village management with several examples of retaliation and EOC violations made by Chief Dunn and Deputy Chief Steffen.
Sir,
Yes,
5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Right.
Okay.
Finish the sentence.
Okay. It's about
Finish this.
Okay.
What? And then hand it off.
Okay. Against officers and police officer candidates that village management chose to ignore.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
I'd like to respectfully ask the board that I donate my time to Steve Coleman.
I've never done that. And I'm sorry. I have
okay. I can read
a
it.
lot of respect for you and for you. I cannot start doing that now.
Okay,
It's just, I'll have to do it
understood,
forever.
understood.
That's all right.
Thank you.
Continuing where Steve left off, Chief Dunn has been the subject of 2 unfair labor practice complaints filed with the state of Illinois by labor unions. Manager Sfondilis stated that during his 32 years with the village, he was unaware of any official who has had these types of complaints filed against them. At the end of the meeting, Manager Sfondilis stated that he needs some time to investigate the accusations against Chief Dunn and Deputy Chief Steffen.
While awaiting a status update from Manager Spondilis, an article was posted in the Daily Herald on March 19th. This article cast a favorable light on Chief Dunn's tenure at the Wheeling PD. The author of the article is believed to have a professional relationship with Deputy Chief Steffen. It does not reflect the perspective of the employees of the Wheeling Police Department. It is unknown how the information was leaked to the press, but the information provided was not accurate depiction of the reality of the working environment under Chief Dunn's leadership. The sworn officers of the Wheeling PD believed the article was a means to get the village management's narrative to the public first to gain support for Chief Dunn. On March 24th, another meeting occurred at the Village Hall between village management. Village President Horker, Patrol Officers Union representation, Sergeants Union representation was also present. During this meeting, Manager Spondilis stated that a thorough investigation was completed, and he found no evidence of any wrongdoing by Chief Dunn or Deputy Chief Steffen. It was evident that the village management failed to take that letter and the additional complaints made at the March 4th meeting seriously. From our knowledge, no witness other than the accused were ever interviewed regarding the misconduct allegations. The majority of the complaints were dismissed and no answers were provided as to who was interviewed as a result of these complaints. Manager Spondilis stated that the issue was primarily the fault of middle management's failure to communicate. The WPD officers and sergeants feel that the village management has failed to take appropriate action against Chief Dunn and Deputy Chief Steffen. We know that in 2015, a deputy chief was accused of misconduct, and the village hired an outside firm to investigate. The village spent 1 year investigating the complaints, and any department member who had information were invited to schedule a meeting. The unions then reiterated the damage done to the department by Chief Dunn and Deputy Chief Steffen by failing to follow the standards set by the Sokolov field training model, which is how we train our newer officers. These actions have put the village and police department at risk of civil lawsuit and eroded employee trust in properly training recruits. In addition, village management was advised that in February, Chief Dunn and Deputy Chief Steffen chose to adjust the new hire candidate ranking based on race and gender, raising concerns about fairness and objectivity of the process. To effectively begin the necessary culture change, we request that the village management place Chief Dunn on administrative leave until his retirement date of July 4th and dismiss Deputy Chief Steffen effective immediately. Allowing them to remain and control and oversee discipline against department members who have provided information about their unjust conduct is a significant concern. The best way to move forward in the Wheeling Police Department and rebuild a healthy work environment is by hiring, we believe, the next chief of police from within our own current leadership. The remaining members of the command staff have the experience and knowledge necessary to quickly improve this department. They have gained the support and respect of the community, their peers and subordinates, and possess the expertise required to restore trust in the position of chief. We hope that these changes will encourage several young officers who are currently considering transferring to other police departments to stay with Wheeling. We strongly believe that hiring an outside chief of police would continue the downward spiral. If this continues, we will be unable to hire quality officers, and more officers will leave for other departments. This has the potential of negatively affecting the community of Wheeling by creating an environment with substandard police services. A few traits of an effective leader are that he or she is self-aware, encourages growth, has integrity and accountability, adds value by servicing others, displays confidence, and is an eloquent communicator. We have those leaders within this department who have graciously served Wheeling since the date of their hire. We ask that you decline to hire an individual from the outside of the department, which would diminish the worth of those from within. In closing, we are committed to our community and the incredible people we work with. Our dedication goes beyond the normal responsibilities of our jobs. We've invested our blood, sweat, tears, and hearts into this community. We have made and will continue to make sacrifices to improve the lives of the citizens we represent. Together, let us unite in our efforts to do what is right and ensure that we consistently serve, protect, and care for the village of Wheeling. The unions would be more than happy to meet with the village board to further discuss the details provided in this statement. Thank you.
Is that it? Please, for the record, identify yourself.
Sorry, Michael Bishke. I am a sergeant with the Wheeling Police Department, secretary of the Sergeants Union.
Just needed your name.
And
Karen yells at me if we don't have a name.
And also for the village board, we do have the letters, if I can approach and give you what I just read?
I'll take them.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate your time.
Anything?
I don't know. Is Adam, you guys are done then, right?
That's it, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Tom Divot.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Take a minute. Not you guys, you. Just. Sir? And your
Good
name
evening,
is?
everybody. My name is Tom Devitt,
Hi.
Wheeling resident. Too bad they're leaving. They actually would have been a good audience for what I'm trying to say. So I'm here again to ask for your help in defending the First Amendment, which is under assault. Since I last spoke to you, Mr. Khalil remains in ICE detention in Louisiana, and there have been 3 more high-profile detentions of people with similar viewpoints. Who knows how many more haven't been publicized? They are criminalizing dissent, and the vast majority of the public remains silent. I am asking you to break your silence. As I mentioned last time, I have contacted our state and federal representatives regarding this. Of the 5 representatives, I received 1 copy and paste email referring to me to Mr. Durbin's lukewarm statement that was released along with 7 other senators, 1 out of 5. On the other hand, I have received thoughtful responses from 100 of the board members I have contacted. Thank you for that. Due to the urgency of this issue and lack of response from other options, I'm here again. Of the responses that I received, I walked away with 4 main points. 1, Mr. Khalil's beliefs are not popular among the board. 2, the board is nonpartisan. 3, the board is strictly concerned with local matters. And 4, I was vague and didn't give specific actions that I wanted the board to take. That one's super accurate. To point 1, I understand that Mr. Khalil's perspective is unpopular on this board, among the general public, and full disclosure, Mr. Khalil's perspective isn't that popular in my own house. But my first grade teacher taught us what is popular is not always right, and what is right is not always popular. The classic line on free speech is, I disagree with what they are saying, but I will fight to defend their right to say it. I'm hoping that those of you that disagree with Mr. Khalil will help defend his right to speak. Point 2, the board is nonpartisan. If that's true, I would argue this board isn't nonpartisan, but rather bipartisan and follows the consensus of the 2 major parties, but that is a conversation for another time. Let's assume the board is nonpartisan, as I've been told. I believe that this issue is nonpartisan as opposed to bipartisan. Independents and third-party supporters have as much at stake in defending the First Amendment as red team and blue team. It is not just that due process, freedom of speech, and freedom of assembly are being criminalized, it is the manner in which they are being criminalized. Agents without visible markings are taking dissenters away in unmarked vehicles. This should be terrifying to everyone, is intended to have a chilling effect on future dissent. I believe that some of you accept the framing that this is a partisan issue because a few federal Democrats have offered a feeble response. The suppression of dissent is a bipartisan venture. Would the red team supporters among you feel different if I was pointing out the previous administration's abuses? Among others, they tolerated police beatings of peaceful protesters, and they forcibly removed journalists from State Department press briefings. I considered addressing you at that time, but figured it wasn't severe enough like this case is. Point 3, the board is concerned with local matters. Again, I say that my personal liberties and those of my fellow residents are local matters. I spend most of my time in Wheeling, I express most of my opinions in Wheeling, and conduct most of my peaceable assemblies in Wheeling. I also believe that the village would greatly benefit from a broader interpretation of what is a local issue. I have a list of issues I'd like to see the board act on. We'll save that for another time. Point 4, what actions would I like to see? What I am asking for is to start a conversation. On the village website, it states that the board exercises responsible leadership by, among other things, assuming the role of community opinion leaders. I am hopeful that the community opinion leaders are bold enough to express their opinions on this matter. ideally at an official meeting, but it could be publicly or to a journalist. I'll leave that up to you. If you don't want to touch the specifics of this case, I ask, where are your red lines? Would you feel differently if Mr. Khalil was a citizen rather than a green card holder who are entitled to all the protections of the Constitution? Would you feel differently if he was a Wheeling resident? Would you feel differently if you agreed with him on the issue in question? And last resort, on actions I'd like to see, I'd like to hear more about your opinions in private, if that's what it takes. I'll linger after the close of the meeting, and then I'll be down at Meat and Potatoes afterward if you want to swing through. Thank you for your time.
We're done.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir. Meat and potatoes, just out back. Right next to the newly opened Moretti's. Thank you, sir. Clerk Brady, consent agenda. Oh, wait. Staff reports.
That's right.
Mr. Kaup, what do you got?
President Horker, members of the board, I have two updates for you this evening. The first one is regarding the water main installation project on Dundee Road. Since March 22nd, the water main has been completely installed between Cedar and Schoenbeck. The contractor is currently working west of Schoenbeck and St. Armand. Approximately 1,700 feet of pipe have been installed to date. After the section of main west of Schoenbeck is installed, the contractor will be installing water main east of Cedar towards Route 83. There's about 850 feet at that stretch. The turn lanes into the school were open Friday, April the 4th, which was 1 week ahead of the schedule that we had promised the school district. And during the week of April 21st, the contractor expects to have a majority of the center line main completely installed, which will close the outer lanes and funnel cars into the center lanes, one lane in each direction, to allow the contractor to work in the outer lanes for the additional main installation. So far, they are ahead of schedule, and we anticipate that they are complete with this project by the end of May, beginning of June. The second up, does anybody have any questions regarding that?
Well, if
construction
they
project?
finish early, will the next phase be able to start early?
The,
That sounds like no.
well, IDOT will be starting their project on the far west end of their limits, which is Route 53. I have no expectation that we'll be close to overlapping, regardless of when our contractor finishes the water main installation.
So we'll be open for about 10 minutes and then they'll close it.
Just about,
Awesome.
yes.
You had something else?
I did. I wanted to apprise the board of where we are with the invasive species removal project. The board approved that earlier this year, and it's a 2-year program where we're removing mostly buckthorn, but any invasive species that the contractor comes across. The contractor is RES. They've completed all of the removals for this year. All of the work this year took place in Avalon, down south. I would like to point out Matt Mashak, who is our forester, the village forester, and Superintendent Vince Hoffman have done a fantastic job of working with the contractor so far. This program is strictly invasive removal, so there isn't any other plantings or we've had questions about what we're going to do with the property next. It's, I think, important to recognize that it's only the removal of the invasive species. I'd like to just take this opportunity to remind residents that while we're trying to get our house in order first by removing all these invasive species on publicly owned land, buckthorn is also to be removed on private property. It's considered a noxious plant, and Chapter 12.17 prohibits buckthorn on private property as well. If anybody has any questions on identifying the plant, please feel free to call Public Works at the number on our website. And I'm happy to take any questions on that as well.
Trustee Lang, then Trustee Rufato.
So Dan, you brought up a great point. If there is buckthorn or any other invasive species on private property, what should a resident do if they do notice it? Who should they call to get it removed? I know the village is not going to remove it. So what's the process for that?
Sure. So I think that the first call should always be to the village. We're able to come out and help positively identify the plant to make sure that it is in fact an invasive species. If the buckthorn is on private property, the village will engage with the resident to let them know that they have to remove it. and we'd be happy to offer resources to help them expedite the removal at their expense on their property.
And that, to call, you said call the village, what number?
The Public Works Department.
Okay.
For the purpose of identification of the plant.
Excellent. Thank you.
Trustee Rufato?
Just to add to that, so if somebody sees something like that, I've seen comments about it, can they also call Public Works and say, I've seen this buckthorn, this area, to get rid of it? Should they do that too?
Absolutely. If it's on private property, or if it's on public property, we'll absolutely come out, check the species of the plant to make sure that it is invasive, and we'll remove it. If it's on private property, we'll engage with the property owner to assist them in the removal.
Okay, great. Thank you.
With information, not with services.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Trustee Krueger?
Thank you, Mr. President. Director Kaup, does that include school district property?
It does, yeah. The ordinances cover all land within the village.
And so how do you notify the school district to contact the village?
If something is noticed, please contact the Public Works Department, and we'll manage that.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Krueger. Mr. Svandelis?
Thank you. I am happy this evening to introduce our newest department head to the team. Her name is Marisol Leyva. She comes to us most recently from the village of Bartlett, but has extensive public and
Bensonville.
Bensonville, that's what I meant. Extensive public and private experience, private sector experience. As you know, Assistant Village Manager / HR Director Crotty will be retiring on May 2nd. So we brought Marisol in with some overlap so she gets a good lay of the land and the situations that are occurring within the village. So she's joining us for her very first meeting tonight. Welcome. And the role of Assistant Village Manager will then go to Mr. Dan Kaup, who is our Public Works Director. He will then have the title of Assistant Village Manager / Public Works Director. He will retain all the responsibilities of being Public Works Director while also taking on some additional responsibilities from the manager's office. So exciting news for our department head team, the village, and so on. So congratulations, welcome Marisol. I will get the difference between Bartlett and and wherever, Bensonville, one of these days. So welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Svandelis. Now, Clerk Brady.
Consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the board member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered after all other agenda items. 11A, ordinance approving the transfer and relocation of volume cap in connection with private activity bond issues and related matters. 11B, resolution accepting a signed material proposal from High Star Traffic for the 2025 MFT maintenance program in the amount not to exceed $29,099.15. 11C, resolution establishing compensation plans of the Village of Wheeling for the period of May 1st, 2025 through April 30th, 2026. 11D, resolution ratifying the village manager's execution of an agreement with MGT for executive recruitment services in the amount not to exceed $33,500. 11E, resolution ratifying the village manager's execution of a proposal for the purchase of 2 Zoll X Series advanced defibrillators, monitors, and associated equipment at the cost not to exceed $106,750 $54.38.
Any questions or comments? Left and right.
Make a motion to approve.
Trustee Vogel, second.
Second?
Trustee Krueger, roll call, please.
Trustee Vito? Yes. Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Rafato?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. New business.
13A, ordinance amending ordinance number 5672, which amended ordinance number 5151, which amended ordinance number 5033, which granted special use approval for the final planned unit development approval for Wheeling Town Center. Docket number PPUD 25-0001.
Mr. Clicker,
Yes, sir.
too many changes here? It's been a while, though.
What we have here is a request. This is actually pertaining to signage. That's a cryptic way of depicting what we're talking about with our title there, but that's the way it has to be with all the ordinances that need to be referenced. But what's being proposed is a change to signage as it pertains to blade signs in the town center. Because of the nature of the town center, where the buildings are located, the view triangles, everything along that nature, it was suggested that blade signs, a sign that sticks off of the building, be allowed to be larger than what is typically permitted per our code, because again, the distance off the roadways, the distance from parking lots, everything along the nature with that. So the guidelines that were presented to the Plan Commission reflected that, allowing a larger blade sign based on the size of the building, based upon its location within the town center. And yes, this is applicable to, there is a business that would like to take advantage of it right now, and that is Moretti's. So these changes would be applicable to the entire town center with an immediate action, if approved, would be undertaken by Moretti's.
Questions or comments? Left? Right. No questions or comments. If nobody's interested in asking or talking about it, need a motion for approval.
So moved.
Trustee Papantos, second.
Second.
Trustee Lang, roll call.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vito? Yes. Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Rafato?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes.
13B, resolution authorizing and consenting to a Cook County Class 6B real estate tax assessment classification renewal for the real property located at 230 West Palatine Road in the Village of Wheeling.
Mr. Becker, are we changing our direction on these, or explain what's going on with this?
President Horker, trustees, we received an application about 6 months ago. I've been working with Dynamax, a company that started in Wheeling almost 50 years ago in 1986 on Abbott Drive, 2 buildings there that they currently own. We're not changing our position, but this is a unique and special circumstance. And the fact that normally with a 6B, there's a vacancy associated with a building and a property. Dynamax has agreed to enter into a purchase agreement for this building, which would preserve 350 jobs on Palatine Road, with the addition of $1 million of additional capital investment for facade improvement and to expand production lines within this facility, as well as adding 50 new jobs to the Palatine Road facility, in addition to other growth that they're currently undertaking, with the potential for another large lease in the village with another couple of hundred new jobs coming. So the applicant's attorney, Joanne Elliott, is here to answer any specific questions that I might not be able to answer. So I hope I've explained this. We're not changing our position. We're just allowing for the building not to be vacant for a day is basically what we're doing.
Trustee Papantos?
Thank you. For the applicant? She,
Joanne, can you come up?
Come on up and
Sorry.
say hi.
and I couldn't see you from there. I was
By way of introduction, my name is Joanne Elliott. I'm a partner with the law firm of Elliott and Associates in Des Plaines, Illinois. And our client is Dynamax, who is actually currently a tenant at this facility. They took over the 6B that was originally approved for the site it was approved in 2013, and our client took it over in 2016 when the prior lessee had proposed to move out of this location. Number one, I want to thank Len for his tireless efforts in assisting me, because I was relentless in terms of trying to find a way to keep Dynamax in the Wheeling community. I think Dynamax is an unbelievably great corporate community client. They do things without having to do them. And what I mean by that is, usually when I come to these meetings and we're seeking incentives, there's all kinds of work that needs to be done at a site. This business does the work when it needs to be done, not because you're giving them an incentive. So they just recently put a new roof in. They just recently repaved their parking lot. As Len mentioned, this particular site is about 172,000 square feet, but they're also looking at leasing at another one of your currently vacant sites that's about 186,000 square feet. And then, as Len mentioned, they currently own and operate out of 2 sites on Abbott, one that's about 44,000, the other one's about 32,000. So in total, they have like 435,000 square feet that they want to occupy here in the village. The only other city that they're currently in is Lincolnwood, and they have about a 21,000 square foot facility. And as I'm sure you know from others that have come before you, the difficulty in Cook County is keeping our good businesses here, industrial businesses, and attracting them here when we're the only county in the entire state that has this classification system that imposes this much higher tax burden on commercial and industrial users. So
2 quick questions. You're buying the building or have bought?
no, we will not buy the building, but for getting the 6B renewed.
But, so you haven't bought it yet?
Correct.
But you will be?
Right, we're leasing it right now.
Right, I just
And
wanted,
we would have an ownership interest in it if the 6B was renewed.
wanted to clarify that. And the improvements you plan to make, you mentioned roofs and things like that, is that part of the improvement program, or?
Correct.
Are you going to, okay, so when do you think all the improvements will be done?
With,
Some already are, obviously.
right, and then the ones that we talk about in our application would be done within a year, within 12 months.
Within the first year? Thank you.
Quick.
Trustee Lang.
So, Mr. Becker, our stance on renewals hasn't really, we haven't really done that, but how does the county feel about the renewals?
Trustee Lang, it's interesting. We had a meeting with the county assessor himself a couple weeks ago, and I saw him again last week. And he called us out specifically, enjoyed meeting with President Horker, managers Fondilis, myself, and Director Brian, who is not here. But really called us out because we are very judicious and really embrace the intent of these property tax reclassifications to promote economic development, not only within the village, but also Cook County, and in this case for the region, because the impact is huge.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Lang. Trustee Rufato.
So does that mean to imply that they would, because this is a variation, this is a difference than what we've submitted before, will they approve this? What is your feeling on that?
Trustee Rufato, they will approve, if, it's the same process typically as with a 6B or a 7 classification, new application. Typically, if the municipality approves it, the county will approve it as well.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Rufato. I do think it's worth noting that this is aerospace and defense part manufacturing. This is what we want happening. It's manufacturing. so I like it. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Trustee Papantos, roll call, second, trustee Lang?
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel? President Horker?
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for staying.
And again, Len, thank you so much for your help.
Official communications? Nothing, nothing?
No.
Nothing? Crickets, nothing? Quick night. That leads us to the bills for the evening. You have before you the bills for March 13th through April 2nd, 2025. I need a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Trustee Vogel, second.
Second.
Trustee Papantos, roll call.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. All right, that leads us to, we have an executive session this evening for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of a specific employee or employees of the village and pending, probable, and/or imminent litigation. That being the case, I need a motion to recess into executive session and adjourn the regular meeting. There will be no business discussed after this meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Motion, trustee Rufato, second, trustee Krueger. Roll call.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. It is 7:11. We will reconvene at about 7:20 in executive session room.